It's interesting to know that we live in the most connected time in history. We can use phones, we can use the internet, we can do video live, but still, some people feel disconnected and frustrated. What's happening? Hello, everyone. I'm Gaby Company, and welcome to the Unstoppable You podcast. In today's episode, my guest is Arjun Bhugra, Master of Social Work, Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Commerce, and founder of Social Threads. And he will talk about what's really happening and how we can come back to connect with others and ourselves. Let's welcome him. Hello, Arjun. Welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Gaby, thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to have a fruitful discussion.
Thank you, thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
So my background is actually Indian. However, I was born and raised overseas. I grew up in the Middle East. So I was born in Bahrain, grew up in United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and spent some time in Fiji and Mauritius. And the reason is because my dad was working as a banker. So every few years, we'd be shifting different countries. One thing that I learned to appreciate in all of these experiences is that it's very important to be adaptable as a human being. And the things that we think actually separate us can be the most powerful reasons to connect and understand each other in a deeper way.
Tell me, please, how did you realize that loneliness and disconnection is a big issue in our society?
It started actually when I was doing my social work job. I worked in the healthcare system, I worked in domestic violence, and one thing that I realized is that it's one of the greatest protective factors. When people are more socially connected, their mental well-being is better, their social well-being, of course, is better, their physical well-being is better, all other metrics of their life are better. However, one thing that I noticed is that many people were feeling socially disconnected. It was very concerning because people that were feeling socially disconnected, they felt frazzled. They felt like the rug was kind of pulled from underneath them. And even those actually, Gaby, that had social connections, they were struggling to maintain them. So I realized that there was a very big problem with social disconnection. That got me curious. So I ended up going online and kind of doing some research. And I found that 43% of young Australians from the age of 15 to 24 found themselves feeling lonely.
Wow.
This is a very high number, especially in an age bracket where you're known for being most socially connected. When we were younger, we used to think the most socially disconnected were the older people. Understandably so. Maybe they had physical conditions which made it hard for them to be visible and to kind of go out. But for the youngest people, the youngest demographic in Australia to be most socially disconnected, this is astonishing. And I believe something could be done about it.
Okay, you mentioned Australia. What about the rest of the world?
Well, what we're seeing is the general trend is quite concerning. Throughout the world, we're noticing that a lot of people are experiencing loneliness in greater proportions than ever before in history. I think we can probably say a great deal of this is due to social media, due to technology. Phones, all of these things. We Facebook, their main slogan is connecting people. But at what cost? You're connecting people digitally, but not face to face. And we're losing sight of the human connection, the main face to face connection, which is most important for well-being. When this is going out the window, obviously you're seeing people feeling more disconnected than ever before.
How important is face-to-face? For example, there are online podcasts. I prefer face-to-face. I can see you. I can see your body language. I can see your attitude, and it's completely different. Tell me about social media. What's the missing point? Because if you see people are connecting through different social media, they are doing video live. They look like they are connecting, but what's happening behind the scenes? Because some of them probably pretend to be somebody else that they are not. What's happening behind?
What you're sharing is so important. Connecting physically, face to face, is very different from connecting behind a screen, a 2D screen. When you're connecting physically, you're able to build rapport and trust faster because you're seeing that person. They're no longer a 2D image. Like you're talking about body language. It's building a sense of trust. You're seeing someone in front of you, you're feeling a little more comfortable around them. Human beings are meant to be around each other. Not around each other on a screen, but literally around each other. And now that we're seeing a lot of this go out the way, we're even talking about supermarkets. I remember I was having a conversation with someone. Supermarkets, fast food areas, places where there's guaranteed contact, even that's now going out the window. What are the touch points? The touch points for purchase are now on a screen. It's great. I mean, obviously they're doing it to cut costs to make things more efficient, but at what cost? They're cutting financial cost to save money, but the social cost is very much put out the window. This is leaving people more disconnected than ever before.
Do you think it could be scary for some people?
Yes, especially for the older people. The older generation have known nothing but connection. Now they're seeing everything, even trips to the embassy, trips to the Vic Roads, trips everywhere. When you call them now, they say, oh no, do your application online.
Yeah,
Go onto the portal.
A couple of days ago, I called Latam, and the first thing I hear is Susan, your virtual assistant. Tell me, how can I help you? And I say, well, help me to connect with a human being. And insisted as well. Please connect me with a human being. Finally, I won. And I was connected with a human being.
The fact that you have to fight nowadays to be connected with a human being is just, I don't know, for me it's baffling. Like, we are meant to be connected with one another, and we're seeing this is out the window. Same thing happened with me. Last week I was having an issue on the Meetup app, and I said, can I be connected with a human? They were like, go through the page. If there's an issue, then lodge something, and our AI assistant will do it. I tried. AI is not answering things correctly. After many, many, many attempts, I also won, and I was able to speak with a human. And the human being was able to resolve it instantly, because they were able to see the issue.
We need emotions.
This is the only way to build rapport. You need another human being there.
How did you start the idea of the program you are doing? What's the name?
Social Threads.
Social Threads. How did you start this beautiful idea?
Basically, as I was saying, I noticed that people were struggling with connection. So I realized that grassroots initiatives are very strong. What is grassroots? Grassroots basically means that you're starting an initiative from the ground up. You're doing it in the community. The reason grassroots is so effective is that when we have policies and governmental acts and legislation to address things, it's too far removed from the problem. When people are so far removed from the problem, like the people who are making these acts, people in the community fall through the gaps. But people like you and I, when we're doing the workshops face to face, we're seeing what's working, what's not. We're fine-tuning things.
You receive feedback.
We receive instant feedback, and this is what our brains are. Our brains are pattern recognition machines. We recognize what works, what doesn't. Someone who's sitting in an office in the governmental building will not be able to see this. They don't have that emotion. Like we're saying, a key part of actually building rapport is through emotion, face-to-face emotion. We cannot do this through a screen.
Yeah.
But I realize that these workshops will help to connect and bring people together. At the same time, not only are we forming friendships, but more importantly, I realize that we can empower people with skills and tools to connect better, so that after the workshop, they can continue to form meaningful connections.
100%. Yes. When you started your project, do you have challenges?
More challenges than you can count, Gaby. One of the main things is showing that my workshops are worth people's time. Whenever I'd go and I'd pitch these workshops, they'd say, what are your credentials? Then I'd say, I've done social work, I've worked blah, blah, blah. Who are you? Who are you to even be an authority figure?
To tell me this, to tell me that.
How do we know you're qualified to talk about connection, social connection? Then I say, I'm very passionate about it. Then they'll say, what workshops have you done? So I haven't done any, but I've got a blueprint. This is one of the main challenges, breaking in. But then once you start doing a couple workshops, you have a little bit of credentials. You can actually show that these are the testimonies, things are going. Then it's a little bit easier to pick up the pace there.
I saw your videos. Really amazing. Could you tell us a little bit more about your workshops? What do you do?
So each week, I designed it in such a way that each week we are talking about a different aspect of social connection. One week we will talk about small talk. Another one will be emotional intelligence. But we aren't just talking about things, Gaby. We're actually doing practical exercises and activities with different people. So when you're connecting with people, by the end of the workshop, you formed a lot of meaningful connections. But more importantly, you've had many light bulb moments. Social connection for you, Gaby, is different to social connection for me. However, if you are able to look at social connection in a 1% different way, by the end of the workshop, you are able to actually be equipped with tools to better connect with others. It's very simple. And the reason it sounds very simple is because it is. The simplest solutions require the simplest problems, require the simplest answers, require the simplest questions. Because people often overlook the simple things.
Yeah. What type of activities people are doing in the workshop?
For example, for something like the emotional intelligence theme, I'd have people go together and I'd say form pairs. Say one person be an expressor, one person be a listener, and another person be an observer. Now, one person is expressing. Because it's a non-judgmental atmosphere and environment, people are letting their guards down.
They feel free.
They feel free
From
to,
the inside out.
to
That's
try
the most
different
important,
things.
Yeah.
And the observer is trying to see what's going well, what's not going well. In a real human life interaction, you don't have that freedom. You're a little bit closed. But when you're purposely creating an intentional space for people to experiment a little with social connection, that's when people build up the quick tools and the light bulb moments to connect more meaningfully. It's as simple as that.
Is there a special requirement that people need to have to attend your workshop?
The requirement you need is a will to connect with others.
Okay.
And a will to know that you might have a little bit of awkward connection and meaningful connection, but this is all part of being a human. There is no requirement. You can be someone who's very socially connected, but you just want to form new friendships. This is perfect for you. You can want to form new friendships and learn new skills to connect. This is for you. I think that I have some skills to connect, but even then, every time I participate in a workshop, I see social connection in a 1% different way. And when I see it in a different way, that means I have been equipped with tools to better connect with others. There's no authority figure. And whenever I start these workshops, I say that I'm not an authority figure here. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong. You are not right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. As long as you are seeing the way that you approach connection with another human being in a different light, this has been a very successful series of activities. Very simple.
Amazing. Life is not perfect. Tell me, Arjun, tell us, what do you do when things are not right for you? When you face challenges, what do you do?
Well, one thing that I realized is that challenges and problems, they're a feature of life. There's not ever going to be a time where you don't experience challenges. The most important thing is knowing that they will pass. Whatever is in my control, I try and control. But the stuff that's not in my control, I just kind of let it be. And it's easier to just say, like, let it be and move on with it. But I guess the more challenges you actually face, the better you are at equipping things. I know that the challenges, we were talking about the challenges of the first few workshops, getting the momentum and the credibility to actually do it. When people are questioning, how many workshops have you done? And I said 0. The thing is, that challenge is done. There will be more challenges. So one of the ways we need to look at challenges is that they're a feature of life and they will always come. But the way we look at it, the way we tackle it, and if we're trying to be resourceful about it, and if we're tackling it 1% better than the last challenge, then I see that as a victory.
Yeah. Always lessons that we need to learn. That's it. That's not a problem. It's how we see them. Do you think it's important, family and parents, to feel connected with the kids? Is an important role, do you think? Or is just the kid that they need to see life in a different way?
I would say that connection with anyone or any being is important. Not just with kids, you need it with your community, with your faith group, with your pet. You need some form of connection. We have a chemical in our brain called oxytocin, and it's there for a reason. Oxytocin is basically released. It's a trust and bonding chemical. When we hug people, when we hug puppies, when even now you probably have some oxytocin. If you feel a good connection with me as a person, then you'll have some oxytocin. This shows that it's very important, and it's our brain rewarding us for connecting with each other and looking out for one another, right? An alligator, they have sharp scales at the back of their back, and this is because they're individualistic. They can protect themselves. We don't have any self-protection or defense mechanism because we have oxytocin, and this is basically evolution telling us to look after one another. It shows how important connection is. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's a necessity, not a luxury once again.
Yeah. And it's true, the connection. When I saw your teacher, for example, took my attention, the colors, Coldplay. It's a beautiful connection. Could you give a message to the audience that probably right now, some of them, many of them, are facing issues in their life? If they are feeling disconnected, or they are feeling anxious. Could you tell, please, a message to them?
I would say that if you're in any part of the world and you're feeling isolated or disconnected, welcome to the human experience. This is very normal. If you're feeling it chronically and always, then you're acknowledging it. This is a very good victory. The next thing is, I think we need to remember, if we kind of compartmentalize loneliness and feelings of isolation and we kind of break it up into what is being visible, what is being inclusive. If you're trying to maybe be more visible, this is one of the best ways to break social disconnection. If you're actually going out in the community, this is one of the best ways to force interaction. And if you're being inclusive, how can you be inclusive to other people that may be feeling disconnected? How can you be inclusive to yourself by giving yourself the chance to be visible? If we break it up into these two very, very simple silos and we work from the ground up, we can see where we're deficient, where we're not, and what activities or processes we can partake in to better build them from the ground up.
Thank you so much, Arjun. That's powerful. Thank you so much. And also, I would like to add something. Social media is very important. Technology these days is very important, but we need to know how to use it properly. Be you. Don't pretend to be somebody else that you are not. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous for us. That's the problem, I think, in our current society. People are, especially teenagers, they are showing up in a way that is not 100% properly. Just be you. Just feel connected to you. There is no perfection. There is no perfection. Just be you. If somebody is not loving you, accepting you, that's okay. That's the beauty of life. We are no goal to be loved for everyone. Thank you. But before I finish, could you tell us, please, how people can contact you, Arjun?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Arjun Bhugra. I'm also on YouTube, same name of my channel. So I post videos about maybe book reviews, different things. I'm just experimenting with life. Like we're saying, there's no gold standard for anything. So now I'm even doing singing videos and guitar videos. I'm just taking some lessons there. And I also have some tips on what it's like being a social worker in Australia if you're interested. And also you can see my website, socialthreads.au. And I think that's pretty much it. And there's also a meetup group and Facebook group where I post community workshops. So if you're interested, I think Gaby can share the link. And also on Social Threads website, the links for meetup and Facebook are also there.
For sure, all the contact details will be in the video. Thank you once again so much for your message. It was really good and very powerful. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Gaby.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was Gaby Company in Melbourne, Australia. See you next time. Bye-bye.